Anybody here ever done trucking for work? Been involved in that? I know there's a few out there. Long haul trucking. Our country depends on truckers to bring goods from manufacturers or ports to distributors and stores around the country. I mean, it's a good paying job, but the hours are long and you're gone from home from a long periods of time. You can be stuck in traffic. You can have to deal with impatient drivers. Never had any of those, have you? Don't get you started, right? Oh my goodness. People darting in and out of lanes of traffic in front of you. It's hard to keep your sanity, your mental tenacity, to have patience, to let the frustrations go, and to focus on getting the job done, getting the goods to their final destination. Well, today we're going to talk about the long haul in the Christian life, because sometimes there are some parallels here in the Christian life. We're on a long journey to our ultimate destination. But along the way, there are plenty of frustrations and roadblocks. There are people who test our patience along the way, and people who, make life sometimes pretty difficult. Sometimes people are angry with you, and they take out their frustrations on you. They don't seem to understand that you are carrying a heavy load to its destination. They lash out. They blow their horns. They cut you off. Life can be tough. But patience and perseverance are essential to navigating the road of life. And God rewards those who patiently look to Him. Now, for James and his readers, life was not a piece of cake for them as well. In their era and the time that they were living in, they had pressure from the Jewish faith that as they were claiming Jesus as the Messiah and living for Him, they had pressure from family and friends about, are you abandoning your Jewish faith? And then on top of all that is the Roman government. The Romans were in control. And for Christians to proclaim Jesus as Lord was a dangerous thing in the Roman government, as the Caesars claimed those titles for themselves. And so they faced persecution and difficulty and trial all around them as well. James writes, be patient then, brothers and sisters, until the Lord's coming. Just a simple verse, but yet so important. James speaks about patience, but he speaks of it with warmth and understanding. He includes himself in that picture. Brothers and sisters, we're in this together. It's the long haul. It's a difficult road. It's a trying life that we have, but we need to wait. We need to be patient. We need to hang in there until the Lord's coming. Patience is something that we don't eagerly, desire. Our society, our culture, our way of life is geared towards accomplishing things, getting them done and getting them done quickly, moving on to the next thing. And patience just seems like such a waste of time. But yet patience is so important in our life, because sometimes our time frames, our timetables, our agendas just don't happen, and things come up. Things get in the way. Things seem to deter us and slow us down. And how will we handle them? Patience is the ability to stay calm and in control, not only internally. Not only are you not internally agitated, but externally you're not lashing out at others. Patience is just like, take a deep breath, lower the stress level. We can get through this. It just may not happen as quickly as we thought. It's remaining in control when everything around you seems to be falling apart, the wheels coming off, and the disaster here and there. It's just like, okay, we can make it through this. We can do this. Patience does not have to be passive resignation, not just throwing up your arms and saying, whatever, my plans are shot anyway. It's not passive resignation, but a determined perseverance to stay focused and engaged, even when things seem to be headed in the wrong direction. We're going to keep on working. We're going to keep on trying. That was a setback there. That didn't go so well, but we're going to come up with a better idea. We're going to keep on pressing forward. What tests your patience? What are the things that you find difficult? For students, maybe you're just in your first semester or ready to wrap up your program, and then this time of year it's going to bring the papers. It's going to bring the finals. And there's just this whole load of work that is put upon you, and it's just hard to get it all accomplished. Maybe it's the job. And you work hard. You're trying to show your loyalty. You're trying to advance and increase your skills, but it just seems like nobody's recognizing it. Nobody is rewarding you for your dedication and for your effort, and you just seem to be stuck in the same place at the same pay scale, and you're not able to make advancements. And it's hard to have patience there. Maybe you're responsible for life at home, raising the kids, and keeping the house in order. And boy, some days are more challenging than others, right? You have this idea of what you're going to get accomplished today, and by 9 o'clock in the morning, you're exhausted, ready for your third cup of coffee, because it's just not going well. And you need patience, because the little ones, and they don't understand. But you've got that load of laundry going, and you have the to-do list that is still sitting there. Patience in so many areas of our life is desperately needed. James goes on and he gives an illustration of a farmer. He says, see how the farmer waits for the land to yield its crop, patiently waiting for the autumn and the spring rains. A farmer needs patience. There's work, absolutely, that farmers need to do. Hardworking people preparing the soil and planting the seed and watering and fertilizing and removing the weeds. There's so many things that you need to be doing, yet you can't guarantee a harvest. You can't make plants produce. You got to wait for a whole season to go through before you see any tangible evidence of all of your hard work and coming to fruition. That farmer needs patience. James says, you too, be patient. Stand firm, because the Lord's coming is near. And that hard work that farmer is doing, James readers are like, oh yeah, that's right. They have to wait a long time before that harvest season, and so in their lives, and the persecution that comes, and the difficult trial they have to go through. It's just like, keep calm, stay under control, maintain focus on the goal. Jesus is coming again, and the work that I'm doing here will be rewarded. Paul would write to the church in Philippi, and he would say, rejoice in the Lord always. I'll say it again, rejoice, and let your gentleness be evident to all, because why? The Lord is near. Not only in his presence in our lives, but the Lord is near in terms of his coming again. Now, we're sitting here 2,000 years later, and it's just, when is that going to happen? But we have God's promise that it's right around the corner. It's just about there. And with that perspective, that Jesus is coming again and the end will happen. And we want to be found faithful, that we can pray, we can have perseverance, we can have patience. Paul would say to them, don't be anxious about anything, but in every situation, by prayer and petition, with thanksgiving, present your requests to God. And the peace of God, which transcends all understanding, will guard your hearts and your minds in Christ Jesus. It's a tough battle. It's a long haul. There are times in which we just want to give up. We just feel like the situation is overwhelming. The nation of Honduras has struggled for a long time. Politically, economically, and in terms of the crime that is there, it's a difficult place. But about 25 years ago, a professor from Calvin College went down there and started working and working with some of the local organizations there, and they founded an association for a more just society, working for justice in a place that just seemed to defy justice or any progress. Along with Carlos Hernandez, Kurt and Joanne Verbeek began working in places like Nueva Supara. Crime was rampant. Homicide off the charts. Education was dismal. There's just, where do you begin? They prayed for wisdom and started. And slowly, gradually, with a lot of frustration along the way, crime has dropped. Not only in this community, but in the surrounding communities. Education has gone forward as they've held educators accountable to the tasks that they're being paid for. Honduras is still a long, long way from being a just society. But there's a vision and a passion and a dream which fuels them. And they pray diligently, daily, with great travail, praying, Lord, come with justice, come with peace, come with righteousness. We want to see the nation of Honduras transformed. AJS is making a tremendous difference, but there's still so much more to do. And maybe you feel that way at times in your own life. It's just like, I've worked so hard, so long, and what do I have to show for it? When will the results be there? Paul would write to the Galatians, let us not become weary in doing good. For at the proper time we will reap a harvest if we don't give up. The picture says it all, doesn't it? Grumpy cat, right? Grumpy cat. And James realizes too that sometimes when we're in the thick of it, we're in the midst of the battle, when our patience is being tested and our perseverance is running short, we kind of can develop that attitude. He says, don't grumble. Don't grumble against one another, brothers and sisters, or you will be judged. The judge is standing at the door. And when I started thinking, how does this, work out with that call to be patient? Well, I only had to look at my own life for an example. When you're working hard and things just don't seem to be coming together, it's easy for the attitude to shift, isn't it? When you start getting frustrated, when you start feeling like your work isn't really accomplishing anything, what's the point? It's easy to get an attitude, to start grumbling and complaining, especially with those close by you. And sometimes that can happen in the life of a church. When God puts big goals and tough problems in our path, and you work hard at them, and sometimes it's easy to start that little grumbling things going on, and a little bit of dissatisfaction with that. And we can start to kind of pick on each other a little bit here and there and everywhere. And before you know it, the whole attitude is unraveling. James says, don't grumble, brothers and sisters, or you will be judged, because the judge is standing at the door. At the door. What is he talking about? James, as we often pointed out, knows Jesus' teachings very well. And in Luke chapter 12, Jesus is talking about one of Jesus' parables, about a master who went away for a long time, and the servants were put in charge of the house. They were to take care of things while the master was gone. And Jesus says, be dressed and ready for service, and keep your lamps burning, like servants waiting for their master to return from a wedding banquet, so that when he comes and knocks, they can immediately open the door for him. And then it will be good for those servants whose master finds them watching when he comes, watching with that active sense of being engaged in the work that they're supposed to be doing. They should be watching. They should be waiting, because the master is right near, coming. When he knocks at the door, it will be good that he finds them fully engaged in the things that they should be doing. Brothers and sisters, as an example of patience, James will now write, in the face of suffering, take the prophets who spoke in the name of the Lord. As you know, we count as blessed those who have persevered. You think of the prophets of Israel. Again and again, they had to speak out in the face of opposition. Speak to people who should know better, but yet are engaging in activities and behaviors which are an offense against God, who are oppressing the poor, who are engaged in idol worship, who are lying and stealing and acting as if God doesn't even exist, that God will not come and judge. And the prophets had to speak into those situations, sometimes not even seeing any difference that they were making, sometimes even being persecuted and put into jail and threatened because of their words. But yet they continued faithfully, because they were serving God and not the human rulers they were speaking to. James says, remember the prophets, how they had to speak up in the face of all of this persecution. They were counted as blessed. Or you've heard of Job's perseverance as well. Job, whose life was blessed, yes. But for him, in inexplicable reasons, all of a sudden his life began falling apart. And yet he held on. He held on in faith. He didn't always understand why these things were happening to him, but yet he continued on in faith. When you're called upon to exercise patience, what's your attitude? Is it kind of that, grumble, complain, throwing up your arms in exasperation? Or do you see it as an opportunity that God has given to you to exercise your faith, to exercise perseverance? When the marriage just isn't clicking, on all cylinders, and you're called upon to say, but I'm going to love through this situation. I'm going to continue to love my spouse and fulfill the vows that I made to him or her. That's work. When at your job, you're trying to get ahead and you want the boss to notice, and it just seems like more and more is being dumped on your plate, do you handle it with grace and with perseverance? When the pressure is on at school or your friends or whatever it may be, these are opportunities for your faith to grow deep roots, to be able to put off the frustrations that you might normally jump into and blow your top and say some words that you're going to regret later. No, this is time to hold your tongue. Because in that time of waiting, It's the best time of growing for Christians. And James calls us to dig in, to persevere, to keep working like that hardworking farmer, waiting for the harvest. And then James throws in one more command. Maybe it has a lot to do with Pinocchio. I don't know. Perhaps in James' time there was kind of this absence of truth and credibility as we find in our own society today. James says, above all, my brothers and sisters, do not swear. Now, this is not the vulgar language kind of swearing, but the making oaths, saying, I swear to God, I'm going to tell the truth on this one. Okay? Well, what that's saying is that, well, all along you haven't been telling the truth, and now you're trying to convince people that you are going to tell the truth. You see, when your credibility is not there, when you speak the truth, people still kind of wonder, is this real or isn't? So James says, do not swear, not by heaven or by earth or by anything else. All you need to say is a simple yes or no. Otherwise, you'll be condemned. He's saying you need to be living all of your lives with such integrity and truthfulness and showing that who you are with sincerity and truth, so that when you say something, even if it may sound a little shaky to somebody else, if they know you, if they know your character, they're going to go, well, that must be the case, because I know this person doesn't lie. I know who they are. I know their character. And James says, as you persevere, people are watching. People are looking at you. And how you handle every single situation, they're testing, they're watching, they're seeing. Is this person a person of truth and integrity? So when they say, yes, I will do it, or no, this is not the case, they say, okay. You don't have to make a big deal out of it. You don't have to, call down God on some oath or anything like that. Your word is your word, and you will keep it. It says, above all, brothers and sisters, don't swear by heaven or by earth or by anything else. All you need to say is your simple yes or no. All else will be condemned. James has thrown us some powerful things to remember, to keep in mind, to hold there in the forefront of our minds, so that as we're on this long haul of life, we need to keep focused, remembering that God produces the harvest. But it takes a lot of hard work on our part and perseverance, but God will come through and produce that harvest. That God will bring justice. That when we get frustrated and we're tempted to grumble and complain, be patient. God will bring about good. He will bring about what is needed and necessary. That God stands with the truth. And that when we live in the truth and when we live in integrity, we're standing next to God. And though the situation may be difficult, God's honor, as well as our own, is at stake. And God will stand with the truth. And then God will lead us home. Covering this whole discussion is that reminder. The Lord is near. Jesus is coming again. Jesus is coming for you. And it's with that mindset, it's with that awareness that we are to be living our Christian lives. Through the mundane, through the difficult, through the boring things that have to be done, we live with an attitude, I'm doing this all for you, Jesus. I'm living my life for you. I'm raising these kids for you. I'm working hard at my job so that you are honored and glorified. I'm going to school to acquire gifts and abilities so that you, Jesus, may use me however you want to. These are the things that we remember as we travel down that road of life. Eddie Ramirez was a trucker. And it was right before Thanksgiving. But a load had to get to San Francisco in time. It would be a tight fit. There was just enough time to do it and to get back home before the holiday. Because Eddie's family was coming up from Mexico, and they were planning this big Thanksgiving celebration together. There's no way that he wanted to miss that. So the trip went fine. The load was delivered, and Eddie was now setting his sights on home when the dispatcher called and said, "Hey, Eddie, I got a pickup for you if you'd like. You can carry it back home. It's down in San Jose. It's only about, 40, 50 miles south from where you were at." But Eddie's going, "It's right before Thanksgiving. Oh, I'd love to be able to take that home. Great money. But by the time I drive down the 280, its traffic is notoriously busy, and pick up that load, I don't know if I'm going to have time to make it home for Thanksgiving." So he declined the job, and he took off the next morning, fueled up his rig, and headed out. Well, going up 80 there towards Salt Lake City and then into Wyoming, the weather reports where there's going to be snow in the mountains. He wanted to keep going. He wanted to push forward because there's been times in which they've closed down Interstate 80 because of the wind and the snow, and it's dangerous for the big rigs. And he got past that checkpoint, feeling like he was home free, until the snow started flying and the wind started blowing, and it was treacherous. It was difficult. Just keeping that rig on the road when the crosswinds were coming and wanting to push that empty trailer off to the side. Eddie saw a lot of slide outs, plenty of cars and trucks on the side of the road, but he just prayed his way through. And as he was coming down the other side toward Laramie and Cheyenne, he's just thanking God. Nebraska and Iowa were a breeze. But now it was the day before Thanksgiving, and you got to go through Chicago. The busiest traffic day of the year, right? He's approaching, coming up to Chicago, 5 miles away from the 94 interchange, and sure enough, traffic was just backed up. And he's looking at his watch, and he knows that his time is ticking. He's only got 14 hours of driving time in a day. Will he make it? Inches his way forward through that Chicago traffic, and sure enough, the BMWs and Mercedes are coming down 94, and all of those very patient people who live in Chicago are trying to cut in here and there and trying to, cut in front of the big rigs. It's so easy to do. He's just like, I got to keep it together. I got to keep it together. And finally, they get past the I-65 by Gary. Things start to break up a little bit. An hour and a half he's got left. He's got to make it. Finally pulls into the yard at 5 to 9, 5 minutes before his 14 hours were up. Eddie breathes a sigh of relief, thanks God, hops into his car, and drives home for the holiday. Folks, we're on a journey. It's long. It's hard. There's lots of opportunities and distractions for us along the way. Things that maybe we want to do and we think would be really good, but the job is to get home. And sometimes the weather hinders us. And sometimes there's people in traffic along the way that want to take you down. But when you keep perspective, when you remember Jesus is coming soon. Jesus has won the victory. Jesus has given me salvation. And he is there to help me through every trial, through every difficulty. As we celebrate the Lord's Supper next Sunday, we remember Jesus gave his life for me. As we participate in this service of healing, we remember Jesus is there for me. And whether that healing comes soon or whether it's delayed or whether Jesus just says, my grace is sufficient for you, my power is made perfect in your weakness, we trust in Jesus for the long haul. And that builds patience and perseverance as we wait for him. Let's pray together. Lord Jesus, on this road of life, so many things to distract us, so many things that delay us, so many things that inhibit us from getting home to where you have called us. But Lord, we pray for patience and perseverance, that our attitudes wouldn't shift into grumbling and complaining, that our character would be filled with integrity and truth as you guide us home. Lord, lead us in your path as we wait for the day. In your name we pray. Amen.